Good morning, class. We are back again with part 2 of French Revolution. In the previous classes, we saw that the Revolution of France began on 14 July 1789 with the storming of the fortress prison, the Bastille. As it was believed that the Bastille had hoarded ammunition and it stood for the depositing powers of the king. With the demolition of the Bastille, a series of events could be witnessed in France. We also saw that Louis XVI became the king of France, and when he came, he found an empty treasury. The reasons for an empty treasury were that there were a series of wars which were being fought by his previous monarchs. There were a lot of court expenses which France had to bear, and finally, Louis XVI helped 13 American colonies to gain their independence from their common enemy, Britain. We had also discussed that the French society was being divided into the three estates and the taxes were borne by the third estate alone. In the year 1789, France went through a very crucial time where people strived to live as there was a rapid increase in the demand of grains. This was also a situation of subsistence crisis. Slowly and steadily, the middle class started to end their privileges as they were inspired by various philosophers like John Locke and Rousseau. In this class, we are going to discuss how, from being a monarchy form of a government, France becomes a constitutional monarch. The outbreak of the revolution actually began when Louis XVI had to increase the taxes, and hence he had to call a meeting of the Estates General to pass his proposal for new laws for taxes. In France, the monarch did not have the power to impose taxes according to his will alone, and therefore a meeting had to be called. The meeting of the Estates General was being called. What is the Estates General? The Estates General was a political body to which the three estates had sent their representatives. Earlier, in France, the voting in the Estates General had been done according to the principle that each estate had one vote. But this time too, Louis XVI was determined to have the same practice. But members of the third estate demanded that voting should be conducted by the assembly as a whole, where each member could have one vote. This was one of the democratic principles which was put forward by Rousseau in his book The Social Contract. But unfortunately, Louis rejects this proposal and hence the members of the third estate walks out of the assembly in protest. On June 20th, the members of the third estate assembled in the hall of the inner tennis court in the grounds of Versailles. They declared themselves as the National Assembly and they swore not to disperse till they had drafted the Constitution of France. This new constitution would limit the powers of the monarchy. If you can see this picture is inside the tennis court and the members of the third estate are taking the oath. The oath that they will not leave this place till they frame a new constitution for France. Faced with the power of the revolting subjects, Louis XVI finally had to give up, and he gave recognition to the National Assembly and accepted the principle that his power would be checked by the Constitution. In 1789, the National Assembly completed the draft of the Constitution, and on August 4, Louis XVI finally recognized the National Assembly and accepted that his powers could be checked by the Constitution. This picture shows that Louis XVI is taking an oath to uphold and respect the Constitution of 1791, which was being made by the people of the Third Estate. The main objective of this constitution was to limit the powers of the monarch. The powers, instead of being concentrated in the hands of one person, were now separated and assigned to different institutions. The different institutions were the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary. The legislature was responsible for making the laws, the executive was responsible for executing the laws, while the judiciary could keep a check whether the laws were being followed or not. This made France a constitutional monarch. The constitution began with the Declaration of Rights of Man and Citizen. This means that the rights of man and citizen should have been given the first preference. Now, these are the few political symbols of France which were being used while framing the Constitution of 1791. The first one is a broken chain. The chain was being used to cater the slaves, and this broken chain stands as an act of becoming free. The second shows us the bundle of rods. One rod can be easily broken, but an entire bundle is not so easy to be broken. Hence, this symbol shows us that our strength lies in the unity. This is a symbol of the eye with a triangle radiating light. This shows that all-seeing eyes stand for knowledge. The lights of the sun will always drive away the clouds of ignorance that we have in our minds. This is the symbol of the royal power, and the next picture is a picture of a snake biting its tail to form a ring. As the ring has no beginning or end, this becomes an important symbol of eternity, and it shows that there is no beginning or no end towards whatever we feel or whatever we see. This is the cap. This cap was being worn by the slaves when they became free, and the colors blue, white and red became the national colors of France. Now, these are few of the natural rights of the people. They were the right to live, freedom of speech, freedom of opinion, equality before law. These were being established as the natural rights. This means that they belonged to each and every human being by birth, and they could not be taken away. It was the duty of the state to protect each and every citizen's natural right. Finally, we see that in this manner, France accepts constitutional monarchy, and in the next video we will see that from being a constitutional monarchy, France slowly and steadily abolishes monarchy and becomes a republic. Thank you and have a nice day.